This is a low airtime pilot, and that is my wing he's about to kick. This wasn't done on purpose. From this clip you can see he's clearly got his brakes in his hands. And having that lack of experience, his emergency response was to climb and not to use those brakes to steer away. Prior to this flight, another pilot had said, "You won't need your reserve today, the conditions aren't that bad." And my response was, today's the most likely time I'll need a reserve, flying with multiple pilots.
Let's have a talk about reserves. First of all, what is a reserve? So inside this pouch here is a reserve chute that if this wing collapses and I'm close enough to the ground that I'd warrant needing to use it, if I'm in big trouble, this is a last resort. It's not a guarantee, but it's a little bit of peace of mind. Let's talk about today when and why you would fly a reserve. So if I was on my own, flying in benign conditions, sort of cruising at about 1,000 feet, 2,000 feet, you probably wouldn't need a reserve. Because unless it's going to be rowdy conditions where you might get a lot of collapses and get yourself into some trouble, realistically, you're doing safe flying there, so you shouldn't really be needing it. So when is it good to have a reserve on you? When you're at a busy airfield, like at a fly-in, there's a lot of people doing silly stuff for cameras. Say you're cruising around at 300, 500 feet, then doing a bit of low flying. It might warrant you to have a reserve. Because if someone else hits you because they can't see you because of the sun, this might be your only option out. In terms of mounting a reserve, there's a few different ways you can mount them. You can mount them on the sides, either side of you, underneath, or on your front. There's been tests done to prove which is the best location to have it. It is a bit of personal preference, but realistically, the best possible place you could have a reserve is right here in front of you. As I'm sitting here flying, I can see the handle. I know where my hand needs to go. It's directly in front of me, so if I get in trouble and I'll need to throw this, I can go straight down, grab it, pull, and throw. Whereas if it was on the side, I've kind of got to look for it. I might not quite grab the handle. Underneath, well, I've got no chance of reaching that because I'm so short. The other added benefit to having a reserve is similar to this one, is I've got a nice bit of Velcro on the top there that I can stick all my instruments to. When I've got some more money to spend, obviously, stick your phone to it, your GPS, mirror, I don't know, put a bit of Velcro on a Twix bar if you really want. A couple of other benefits of these is, when it's cold, stick your hands behind them. Nice windshield. Other reserve containers, you can get a top pocket. I don't know, you can put other little bits and pieces in there, like a GoPro, for example. And definitely a benefit of having a reserve in front of you, it just makes you feel a little bit more safer. When you're a newer pilot, and you're flying in maybe a bit more bumpy conditions that you took on your practice flights, your wing is gonna fly. Like, it's gonna take a lot to collapse a wing, but having that there, it's just like having a seatbelt in a car almost. Not a guaranteed safety, but a fairly decent peace of mind. And if you really want to get nitpicky into details, so this reserve weighs about 2 kg, 2.5. It's a Dudek Globe 130, and they've got a different weight range for different weights. Dissimilar to wings, you want to be like a nice margin underneath the top weight range of a reserve. It's not like a wing where if you go over it becomes a bit more dynamic. Yes, it may bring you down safely, but it'll be a lot quicker. With these, you're probably falling about 4 or 5 meters a second. And if you're over the weight range, you might be falling 5, 6 meters a second. And that might be the difference between maybe rolling your ankle and breaking your ankle. Like, I can't stress enough that if you're gonna get a reserve, don't buy someone's reserve that's been in a cupboard for 15 years or been in a mouldy garage. Reserves have a lifespan of 10 years, and then depending on what brand you get, they can be extended by a year if you get them repacked. So when you've got a reserve, it's worthwhile doing some drills.
Only if it's safe to do so. Don't just drop your brakes.
So as you're flying along, poodle along, think reserve right, and then look directly at the handle and grab hold of it. You obviously don't pull it because you'll be in a whole world of problem then, but as you remember it, instantly look down and grab the handle as if it's an emergency situation, because that's going to simulate quite similar to what a wing collapse would look like. It'd collapse, you could look down and grab it. The chances are you'd be able to get that wing out before you really need your reserve. Like I say, reserve is like your last option, but it's always there if you've got it. So here we go then, the $1 million question. As a new pilot, should you be rushing to buy a reserve? In all honesty, it depends on your situation. If you're flying at a busy airfield with a lot of other pilots and you're looking to push the limits a little bit, yeah, a reserve's probably a good option. If you're sort of taking your first flights and you're flying in very benign conditions, you've still got your instructor coaching you through, chances are you might not need to get one straight away. And I didn't get one for about 15 hours, and now I have got one. Essentially, I feel happy that I've got it. So there you go, guys. That's my 2 pence on reserves. I hope you're still staying safe out there. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up. It really helps the channel. If you love it and you want to see more, click the subscribe button. And until next time, I'll see you up in the air. Peace.